Good morning, Nigeria. I'm Manulu Akpo, and this is Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, Ibadan. We begin with a developing story at the center of Nigeria's foreign policy space. Reports indicate that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, has resigned. What led to this decision? What does it mean for Nigeria's diplomatic direction, and how might it as well reshape the country's engagement on the global stage? And that is our Daybreak gist this morning. We'll also bring you the weather reports, and shortly after Daybreak news with major national and international developments affecting Nigeria and the world.
Well, I am Samson Balogo. Good morning to you once again. We will then turn to the newspaper headlines. The front pages this morning reflect a mix of political developments, security concerns, and shifting national priorities. We'll take a closer look at the key stories and the questions they raise with our analyst, Afolabi Afolami, who is a public affairs analyst. And later, our big story focuses on a situation demanding urgent attention, a state in tension. What's the Jos massacre and the protests mean for Plateau's stability? What are the underlying triggers? How are communities responding? And what does this mean for peace and security in Plateau State and beyond? Joining us for that conversation is Dr. Kunle Okunla. He's a security expert, and he will be bringing his wealth of experience on this show this morning.
And before we wrap up, Trend Watch will highlight the stories and conversations gaining momentum across the country.
Well, it is indeed a morning of serious questions and issues.
So let's begin this morning.
Then we shall begin.
Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Anulu Akpo.
Yeah.
It's really nice to be back here. And of course, every morning like this, stories take different shapes. And this particular one might shock some people, but then it doesn't shock some people actually, because initially, sometimes you must have seen the signals here and there. And the president actually made some things known that before 31st of March, if you know you are going to vie for any elective position, please resign your appointment and let someone else take over that responsibility. And as of this morning, some resignations are coming in, but some are still, maybe by the end of the day, we'll see some people will drop their resignations.
Absolutely.
But right now, Yusuf Tugar has done that.
Many presidents are already gathering momentum to now start doing what they intended to do, or they intend to do, as it were, politically. And just like you mentioned, when the president gave, of course, that's a norm, right? You're supposed to resign from whatever position you have been appointed to. But yes, I wanted us to look into how this came about. Yusuf Tugar personally is someone I think I like for some reason, but yes, I'll state some of the things he's done. I checked into his portfolio, and something I was really maybe interested. I was intrigued by his portfolio because he served as he served in the House of Representatives in 2007, from 2007 to 2011. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But he had a pause after then, shortly after then, from 2011 to 2017. So 2017 again, he started serving, on the international space. Particularly, it was the ambassador, Nigerian ambassador to Germany from 2017 to 2023. So he served for 6 years again, which is quite something to think about. Like, this guy has a lot of experience. So it wasn't difficult for Bola Ahmed Tinubu to call him in 2023 to continue as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So 2023 to 2026. So we can see, I was trying to look at the years he served as a figurehead for the country. And you can recall why this is important, because you remember, for a good number of time, for a long, I don't want to say years, but of course some years, Nigeria did not have ambassador, delegate, or designates in places across the world. So it was a big jump. It was a big task for Yusuf Tugar to come. It was a big shoes that he had to fill, and he filled it quite well, to the best of his ability. We saw some of the things he's done. I think I was trying to say about the scholarship schemes across the world, and some of the engagements, bilateral arrangements we've had with some countries. He's been in the thick of that, and I think I like that. I really appreciate the fact that he did what he did. But I think, again, I'll take the conversation from the point of, why does he want to resign? Because there are many reasons you can give. I was trying to think about, okay, so why does he think he should resign to become a governor? Because the conversations around the quarters where this is coming from is that he wants to become Bauchi State governor. And I was trying to imagine, so if you are a foreign affairs minister in the country, you are serving in an international community, you're representing the country on that scene, I think it's a juicy offer. But if you have to also consider what it means to become a governor in Nigeria, I'm trying to look at first the responsibility. does it mean so much, or does it take so much to become a to work in the office of the Minister of Foreign Affairs than it takes to be a governor, or does it take so much more responsibility to serve as a governor than to be a Minister of Foreign Affairs? I was trying to look at those, designations, particularly the office, and I was trying to imagine, so how does this play out for him? Or why not just continue as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, because you're serving the nation, not serving just the state now? I mean, I don't know how it might have come across to him, but that's in my view. I feel like, okay, so if you have served in this capacity and you are known, I mean, across the world, even nations of the world, their leaders, they know you because you've been in the thick of things for a long time, right? So I think you have already gained, acceptability, credibility in a lot of ways to say you've served in that position. But let me take you back to what happened shortly before Daniel Bwala's saga with the journalists, right? There was also a kind of like a saga for him, Yusuf Tugar, when the U.S. came about. The fact that the United States president called Nigeria a country of particular concern, and then he was to meet with some people, and they were asking questions, especially about the Christian genocide situation in the country. And I remember the journalist said to him that he is lying. I remember that was the word. He said, "You are lying." And I think because he was asking questions about how many people have died from this time to this time, how many of them are Christians, he was asking for data. And unfortunately, Yusuf Tugar at the time could not produce. He said it doesn't have it in its own, it doesn't have it between his fingers yet. But that was a good way to even escape from certain things. But I'm not saying he escaped from it. But what was it called? The interviewer was not really happy with his conversation with him, and that came about. But that's not even the most important thing now. Now, if you consider Daniel Bwala's interview, Yusuf Tugar, it seems like a good number of people from the international community do not give credibility to this present administration. Maybe because also the last administration was an APC government. So if they want to say that this administration is getting better, they will look at this administration plus the last administration that the party has been ruling. So they put all those together to say, how well have these people done? We've had situations of insecurity across the country, and the presidency, and as well as this administration, keeps saying, we're doing enough. We're trying to do this. We're putting things together to ensure that we get to the end of this insecurity in the country, and we are even getting foreign relations to come join us, which is okay, right? But a lot of people in diaspora would not agree with this proponent of the government. But let me just round up what I'm trying to say, after all of this, I began to look at it from the angle that, was it that Yusuf Tugar was tired of taking the responsibility of defending something that cannot be defended? Because some have also said it's so difficult to defend something that cannot be defended.
I do not believe that.
Yes, but that's on the one hand. Some people will claim, oh yeah, maybe he's tired of that. Maybe he's tired of the responsibility. Maybe he's tired of traveling with the president. Maybe he does not even believe so much in defending this administration. And others will say, perhaps it's a good way to also come and take whatever you've seen, the exposure you've had in the outside world, and bring it back to a local space, the Bauchi State particularly, to help. But that's exactly the way I'm looking at it.
You see, if it's about getting tired of defending the nation Nigeria, I do not buy that, okay? We have seen people who have gone far beyond that and still came back to serve in their states. For example, Charles Chukwuma Soludo was CBN governor. He was whining and dining with IMF, with a lot of monetary bodies across the world, and eventually had to settle and, of course, come back to Anambra State to serve as governor. Most of the times, it is about what you want to offer the people, and some of the times, it's about what you stand to gain personally. And when you talk about being a minister, especially for foreign affairs, there are things you don't have access to. All you have as a minister is the name and the influence. But for a sitting governor, I mean, you control everything and anything. Now, let me now compare. I've talked about Charles Soludo of Anambra State. We can also talk about Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, the current governor of Bauchi State. If you check his profile and political career, you realize that he's been there. And for a point, you would think, like, what exactly is he looking for to be governor of his state? But then, he is the current governor and is the outgoing governor of the state. Bala Mohammed was governor. was senator from 2007 to 2010. Okay, represented Bauchi as a South Senatorial District in the National Assembly, and Minister of Federal Capital Territory from 2010 to 2015, appointed by former governor, former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. He oversaw the administration and development of Abuja, known for reforms in land administration and infrastructure expansion. And of course, he went back to become governor of Bauchi State for 8 years. He's currently in his second term as governor of Bauchi State. So if he finishes, that means he's been governor for 8 years. So people with high profile sometimes go back to their own states. Let's, for example, say, oh, I think I have had enough exposure that I can bring to my own state. Though in some cases it doesn't usually work that way. You find out that, they haven't really done anything. Talking about the exposure they think they are bringing to the table. Now, away from there, for a governor, okay, people tend, that's why lately you've seen President Bola Ahmed Tinubu telling Nigerians to go back and hold their governors responsible because he knows how much power they wield in their different states. Now, as a governor, okay, there are things that comes to you naturally, okay, free, because it is entrenched in the Nigerian Constitution. Executive power and authority. You sign documents. In fact, you sign people's lives away if the Constitution, if the situation requires it. For example, someone is in jail and is to be executed. As a governor, you can sign to either release or sign to, do the needful. And control state policies, programs, supervise ministries, departments, and agencies, signs laws, and implement budgets. I mean, that's a huge one. That you cannot do as a city minister. What you do as a city minister is you check your ministry. What exactly do we need? It is now to be forwarded to the National Assembly, and then from the National Assembly to the presidency. A dime of that money might not even come through you at all, because it is being channeled through the necessary means. As a minister, for me, I think ministers are more like glorified directors in those ministries. Okay? Away from there, you have control of state resources. Everything and anything that belongs to that state must come through your table. That cannot happen as a sitting minister, because you still have to report to some people. As a governor, you don't report to anybody, especially in your state. You are the alpha and the omega. It is happening in some states, including your state, Ogun, and some other states across the nation. The alpha and omega of their state, they decide what happens, who gets in and who gets out of that state. And of course, you allocate state funds, including federal allocations, to things that you feel is necessary. Some of the times, most of the House of Assemblies across the country, they are called rubber stamp, because some of them are handpicked by the governors. So if they say we are channeling this also amount of money to a particular project, they follow suit and they sign with immediate alacrity, as some people will say, and then nobody will question it. If they want to borrow, they borrow at will, and they will sign. They pass on the floor of the house, and it happens like that because they hold absolute powers in their state. I will cite an instance. 63 billion or around 63.5 billion is to be used, or is being used, to renovate the state's house, the government house in your state. Yeah. Okay? It was signed by some people. It was passed into law by some people on the floor of the house, and nothing has happened. A few people just raised their eyebrows about it, and since then, what have you heard? 63 billion is gone, and there's nothing you will do about it. That is absolute power. That 63 billion, according to our National Primary Healthcare Agency, that can build at least minimum of 700 to maybe 800 primary healthcare centers across the state, if and only if the governor decides to build, which he has said is not building, not even renovation of the dilapidated ones we have across the state. Away from there, as a sitting governor, you have political influence. Okay, especially for those who are going for their second term. What they do, basically, is to unpick every aspirant across the state. It has happened before. Nyesom Wike of Rivers State even bought forms for some of them. In fact, all of them. He bought all the forms and gave it out to people he wanted in office. They are there today. And that is why you have the likes of Martins Agmewule, who are so loyal to him that this is the godfather and this is who we are following, regardless of what the governor has to do. In fact, the governor was almost kicked out of the office, if not for the presidency that swayed in and then said, look, let's just keep this, go and rest for 6 months. By the time you come back, we would have settled. And even when he came back, a lot of problems still erupted. Meaning that, as a governor, there are things you do, especially if nobody sets up a time bomb for you in office. Away from there, let's talk about security oversight in the state. They decide where is to be secured, when and how. That's the job of a governor. You don't do that as a minister. In fact, you also write a memo to request for personal aids If someone says I don't like his face, he has requested for 10. Let's give him 2. There's nothing you can do as a minister, but as a governor, you get to fight for everything and anything in the political space. And let's talk about financial benefit and allowances. Okay, salaries and generous allowances for sitting governors. They decide how much they want to earn in their state, because salaries for governors across the country is not general. A state governor will come in now and say, I want you to look into my emoluments, I want it adjusted, and then it will be adjusted. It's the state of our House of Assembly now. Most of them are lawyers. In fact, they have usually sitting governors have the majority. There used to be a time when you don't have such luxury, okay? As a governor, yes, you are there. But your party might not even have the majority on the floor of the House, meaning that you have to be careful and meticulous about things you push to the floor of the House. Otherwise, you get kicked back, and then you keep going back and forth. So a lot of things get done as a governor that you cannot do as a minister. Now, lastly, let me talk about the social status. Do you know what it means for a state governor to now walk around the city of Ibadan? You know how many vehicles will follow him? The respect. But all that stops the moment you are no longer a governor. But you don't get that as a minister. In fact, as a minister, if you are going to any state, you call the governor and say, I'm coming. They provide logistics for you. And they only provide what they think you deserve. So if he doesn't like your face, he might just give you 2 vehicles and maybe one a truck with police officers in it, and then they drive you about, and by the time you are done, you go back to where you are coming from. So what I'm trying to say is absolute power belongs to the governor in their various states. And that's why the president is saying, I have little or no power over these governors. But what I have been giving them from the presidency, okay, hold them responsible. But people still don't get the idea of what the president is saying. Okay, even before now, when they don't get as much, people still don't care about what the governors do in their state. They are much more concerned about what the president is doing. Whereas it's, well, you might just say the kind of democracy we practice in Nigeria might just be a figurehead. Maybe the arrangement, when we say we practice federalism, might just not be true federalism. Okay, but then it still means that to some extent, states, local governments have their powers, even though local governments have been put in one corner by some governors. But hey, Yusuf Tuga knows exactly what he's doing by resigning and saying, I want to be governor. He wants to taste that absolute power in his state. Yeah,
but we all know that. We all know that absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Well, when we get to that bridge, we will cross it.
but you know, my claims this morning is, if we look at this from the position of leadership, then we will discover there are many things that are not really necessary. But you might say as well, oh yeah, it's good because there are many, like you've stated.
How about ambition?
You know, yeah, you've stated quite expressly that there are so many benefits to becoming a governor.
I have only mentioned maybe about 10% of
and there are more that we've not even covered. But which is true, right? But how about we look at it from the angle that I'm serving a country, I'm serving a people. If it's about the people, right? I know we talk about interest. I know we talk about political interest. We say nobody really cares. What do you think?
Have you heard the saying, do your best and leave the rest?
Yeah, you know. So sometimes
maybe he feels he has done his best.
Perhaps not. Why I think it's a valid proposition of argument to say that maybe he's tired of this administration is because I'm not sure I've seen anybody in the outside space who's been able to defend this administration perfectly. Daniel Bwala messed up, and we all saw that. It wasn't just him.
Did you later follow up on how he said the interview was manipulated?
Like they did not tell him before that.
So not even that. That it was meant to be. It was an hour interview, but eventually when it was released, it was about 40 minutes. Meaning some places were trimmed off.
But I think I got wind of the information that some people that were there physically wrote about this too. And I read their comments. I read their commentaries. I read some of the things they wrote about how that came about. The little we saw was enough to know that Daniel Bwala was bluffing for a good number of times. I mean, it was personal. It became personal, which was not supposed to be anyway. It became personal.
You questioned the interviewing methodology.
That is exactly a point too. You know, I think I've said this before too. That
it eventually became a personal attack.
So okay? you could
he has come to defend the presidency. Okay, why personalize the interview?
That's my interest now. So for Daniel Bwala, there was even a time they said before the interview he was doing content with his team to say we are prepping for this interview. What does that mean? So if you're prepping for an interview, why don't you check the interviewer? Because according to what we've seen, the interviewer particularly is in a lot of ways some have said is not really objective.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes he has something he wants to say and he wants to project it, whether or not you say. It doesn't care what you.
Just
and if
imagine
you had
an
done your
interviewer
assignment, you would have known what he's about to do.
Just an interviewer telling the guests that you are lying on international television. That for me is absurd.
Yeah.
It should not come from.
There's a way to say that.
There's a way to say that.
As a journalist.
Okay, you can argue what he's saying.
But my point
which
is,
it simply means you are saying what you are saying is not right.
But my point is, if you claim to have done your background assignment, then you should reflect in that interview. You should not come, if you say someone wants to interview you, and then you come all of a sudden without knowing the person can take you here and there and all of that. And then he came about to say that, you know, I was not briefed properly about the things we're going to talk about. That was not even the issue. The issue was the personal issue. I said something, you're coming back on my words. Leave my words. Let's talk about this administration. That's why we're here. That was why you called me, to talk about security, talk about governance in the country, economy, and those were very viable conversations.
I think that's where he made.
You know, so I've seen a lot of. I think so that's where the argument to say maybe people are afraid to defend this government, but perhaps they don't know how best to defend this government. It's a thing too. To say Yusuf to get tired of the whole crisis.
Well, I guess if you have the opportunity to be the spokesperson of this administration, and you have absolutely nothing to say to the people out there, you don't know your job. That's the basic truth. No matter how bad an administration is, I'm not saying this administration is bad. Don't misquote me. But then, no matter how bad an administration is, there's still something to say out there if you know your job.
But if that's something is
you have seen it happen
enough,
before. There used to be someone who was so good at what he was doing at that time, and even though some said his style of defending the nation and the administration was maybe archaic or maybe in some way not too in line with what. But then he was able to project some things out there, and people were talking about him, and that was Lai Mohammed at that time. He was always out there saying one. You might argue what he's saying, but definitely you will know that he's got something to put out there for you. But then it's a topic for another day. As we take weather report on the show this morning. Let's help you plan your day and help you navigate through what the weather would look like before the day runs out. And we'll be starting with the ancient metropolitan city of hospitality, Ibadan. What does the weather look like in Ibadan? This morning, right in Ibadan, there'll be an average of 24 degrees Celsius all through the day. But as we speak, it is around 24 degrees Celsius. And it is cloudy. Later in the morning, it will rise by 6 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy with humidity at 1%. It will rise further to 33 degrees Celsius with expectation of scattered thunderstorms in the state. And of course, humidity rises to 56 degrees Celsius. It drops to 26 degrees Celsius in the evening, mostly cloudy, humidity dropping drastically to 19%. And overnight, it drops again to 24 degrees Celsius, cloudy, with humidity also dropping back to 8% right here in Ibadan today.
And talking about the 117 kilometers drive from Ibadan, where you started from, to Lagos, the weather would be 27 degrees Celsius, cloudy in Lagos today. Of course, slight difference or differences across board. In the morning, 30 degrees Celsius, expect to be mostly cloudy. And in the afternoon, 31 degrees Celsius, rising by just 1 degree Celsius to remain partly cloudy. And to be mostly cloudy in the evening, dropping to 28 degrees Celsius by about 3 degrees Celsius. And it drops much further by 2 degrees Celsius overnight to become 26 degrees Celsius. Expect to be cloudy at 15% humidity in Lagos today.
All right, moving on to the Gateway State this morning, and that's talking about Ogun. In Abeokuta. In Ogun South, as we speak, weather is currently at 24 degrees Celsius, just like Ibadan. It will rise to 30 degrees Celsius later in the morning, being mostly cloudy with humidity at 4%. And in the afternoon, it rises further to 34 degrees Celsius with the expectation of scattered thunderstorms and humidity climbing to 46%, similar to that of Ibadan. And in the evening, it drops to 27 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy. Humidity drops to 24%. And overnight, again, it drops by 2 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius. And to be cloudy, humidity also drops to 13% right there in the Gateway States today.
And from the Gateway State now to Ekiti Southwest today, because the weather feels like 23 degrees Celsius across board. In Ekiti Southwest. Of course, in the morning, 28 degrees Celsius, expect to be mostly cloudy at 10% humidity. And of course, the afternoon parts, there could be scattered thunderstorms, maybe with the promise of showers at 53% humidity. The weather is getting cloudier in the evening at 24 degrees Celsius. Expected to be mostly cloudy across the parts of Ekiti southwest. And overnight, it drops by 2 degrees Celsius to 22 degrees Celsius against what it started with 28 degrees Celsius in the morning, and overnight 22 to become cloudy in Ekiti southwest today.
All right, moving on to the south this morning. We take this one from Port Harcourt, River State, and you might just be needing an umbrella in Port Harcourt today. As we speak, weather is currently at 21 degrees Celsius. It is mostly cloudy in Port Harcourt. It will remain mostly cloudy later in the morning with temperature rising to 27 degrees Celsius, and of course, humidity at 11%. It will remain mostly cloudy in the afternoon, and of course, it rises slightly to 28 degrees Celsius, and humidity also rises to 19%. And there will be showers in the evening, with weather dropping to 23 degrees Celsius and humidity rising to 35%. And overnight, it will be cloudy, returning back to 21 degrees Celsius, just like this morning. And of course, humidity drops drastically to 3% in Port Harcourt, River State today.
And from Port Harcourt now to Ilorin is Kwara State. The weather will be mostly cloudy at 24 degrees Celsius across board. And in the morning, 29 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly cloudy. And the afternoon part will be 33 degrees Celsius, moving about 4 degrees Celsius up to become mostly cloudy. It remains mostly cloudy all through the day. In the evening, 27 degrees Celsius, although it drops by 6 degrees Celsius significantly to 27. And overnight, it drops much further by 3 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius. Sea expected to retain its mostly cloudiness in Ilorin East, Kwara State today.
All right, I will take this one from the border state to Ilorin in Kwara State, and that is Suleja in Niger State. As we speak, weather in Suleja, the largest state in Nigeria, is currently at 24 degrees Celsius, and later in the morning rises by 4 degrees Celsius to 28 degrees Celsius, being mostly cloudy with humidity at 7%. And rises slightly to 30 degrees Celsius in the afternoon, with promise of scattered thunderstorms, and of course humidity rises to 38%. Of course, in the evening, it drops back to 26 degrees Celsius. It will be mostly cloudy, and humidity returns to 7%. And overnight, it drops back to 24 degrees Celsius, just like in the morning, and it will be cloudy. Humidity also drops to 2% in Suleja, Niger State today.
Slight difference across Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, because the weather average will be 23 degrees Celsius, cloudy across board. And in the morning, 27 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly cloudy. And in the afternoon as well, it rises much further to 29 degrees Celsius to remain cloudy at 24% humidity. It will still gather the clouds to become mostly cloudy at 26 degrees Celsius in the evening, and it will still retain its cloudiness overnight at 24 degrees Celsius at 2% humidity in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory.
All right, let's take this one from the northeast this morning, and that's talking about Maiduguri, Borno State. As it stands, weather in Maiduguri is currently at 29 degrees Celsius. It will rise by 5 degrees Celsius to 34 degrees Celsius later in the morning. It will be mostly cloudy with 0 chance of humidity. And by afternoon, it rises again by 4 degrees Celsius to 38 degrees Celsius. It will be partly cloudy with 0 chance of humidity. And overnight, it will be, of course, in the evening and overnight, it will be cloudy, and of course, it's around 31 degrees Celsius and 28 degrees Celsius respectively, with humidity maintaining 1% for evening and overnight right there in Maiduguri, Borno State today.
And still in the north, Kano Municipal is where I land. At 27 degrees Celsius, it will be cloudy across many parts of Kano State today. In the morning, 32 degrees Celsius is what it starts with, mostly cloudy at 0% humidity across board from morning to night. And overnight, it will increase to 36 degrees Celsius by 4 degrees Celsius to retain its mostly cloudiness across board. And of course, it will still remain mostly cloudy at 31 degrees Celsius in the evening. And though it drops to 26 degrees Celsius overnight, it will still be mostly cloudy in Kano Municipal today.
All right, that's all we can take on Weather Report this morning. We say thank you for joining us on the show so far. Do well to link up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can watch us live on our website at www.dominion.org.ng. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Dominion Broadcast. Our Facebook channel is also open for likes, and of course, it is at Dominion Broadcast Television. Drop your comment there. We'll take them on this show. It is time to go on a quick break. And when we return, we'll take the news. We'll be back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram at Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Hello and welcome to Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Anuluakbo Ido. Vice President Kashim Shettima has assured Nigerians that national security remains a top priority for the federal government. He gave the assurance at an event in Abuja, where Shettima said President Bola Tinubu is fully committed to addressing insecurity and safeguarding lives and property across the country. The Vice President also praised the media's role in strengthening democracy. Suspected bandits have attacked the wedding ceremony in Kahir village, Kagarko local government area of Kaduna State, killing at least 13 people and abducting several guests. The late-night attack threw the community into panic as the gunmen opened fire on guests at the venue. Several others sustained injuries and were taken to hospital for treatment. Community sources say the attackers also looted nearby shops before fleeing with an unspecified number of victims. Police authorities have confirmed the killings and abductions, while investigations and effort to track the attackers continue. The Olubadan of Ibadan land, Obarashidi Ladaja Rizal I, has urged community leaders to prioritize security in their domains. He made the call during the installation of 14 Mogajis and 8 Baales at the old Olubadan Palace in Ibadan. Ladaja said that security remains a major challenge in Nigeria and charged the newly installed chiefs to remain vigilant and work closely with neighboring communities. He also encouraged them to sensitize youth to join security agencies during recruitment exercises. The monarch further warned that the crackdown on land grabbers will continue, noting that the activities pose a threat to public safety. Moving on, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIC, has launched an investigation into a viral video showing a female student humiliating a schoolmate in Benue State. The agency said its Benue State Command has been directed to work with relevant authorities to ensure swift action. The movie follows public outrage over footage showing schoolgirls stripping and harassing a fellow student while recording the incident. NAPTIP described the development as disturbing and assured the police and public that the matter is being treated with urgency. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tugar, has resigned from his position to pursue his governorship ambition in Bauchi State. The ministry spokesperson, Kime Biemfa, confirmed the resignation in a brief statement. Tugar is seeking to contest the Bauchi State governorship election. A special advisor on media, Al-Kazim Abdul Qadir, had earlier indicated his intention to join the race. Meanwhile, Tugar previously contested for the position. And talking education, the West African Examinations Council (WAEC) has released a timetable for the 2026 West African Senior School Certificate Examination for school candidates. According to the timetable, the examination will begin on Tuesday, April 24th, 2026 and end on Friday, June 19th, 2026. The first papers are Foods and Nutrition, 3 practical planning session, and Home Management, 3 practical planning session. WAEC said candidates are expected to familiarize themselves with the full schedule ahead of the examination period. In business, the federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to investment-led growth as it shifts focus from economic stabilization to private capital, productivity, and job creation. The Minister of Foreign Affairs disclosed this at the Islamic Development Bank Group Day held in Lagos. According to the ministry, more than $2.2 billion has already been deployed across critical sectors. The government says its partnership with the Islamic Development Bank is being expanded to boost investment in energy, infrastructure, agriculture, and digital development. Finance Minister Wale Edun said the next phase of the administration's reforms will depend on large-scale private sector investment to create jobs and widen economic opportunities. And now talking sports, at least 4 Super Eagles players have left camp ahead of Tuesday's international friendly against Jordan. The players are defenders Calvin Bassey, Semi Ajayi, and Bruno Onyemechi, as well as goalkeeper Maduka Okoye. Bassey, Ajayi, and Okoye are all sidelined by injuries, while Onyemechi was excused following the birth of his daughter. The departures are a setback for the Super Eagles as they continue preparations for the friendly in Turkey. And that's about it on Daybreak News. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and X at Dominion Cast. And that ends Daybreak News on Dominion Television. I'm Anu Luakpo Ido saying thank you for watching.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
We've seen the first tranche of resignation, but between now and the next less than 24 hours, we see the rest of those resignation coming forth. And that's because of the elections. There's been a stipulated time for anybody that is serving in some positions to resign if they have political ambitions in their state or wherever they want to have it. So that's exactly the conversation. Many more to come. Yusuf Tugar, the first, Garuba, and some other presidents as well. Still topping the list is Yusuf Tugar, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, saying he's on serving as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. That's exactly the conversation on that table, while some are still expecting to do the same, to follow suit as we track it much further. Of course, we'll get you into the know as to how that unfolds across our bulletins and our news production throughout today. And of course, this is the segment where we call the newspaper headlines and analysis, where we check into the print, bring you stories that are breaking across the newspapers, from the politics to business to economy, whatever facet we find. Of course, there are many stories that are making the rounds as we speak today. On the Nation newspaper, I have so many stories, as well as the Punch newspaper, and driving from Punch to the Guardian newspaper, and so many other stories that we will lay our fingers on today. Of course, let's get started, shall we? I'll start with the Guardian newspaper. This one, and of interest is the conversation that ministers develop cold feet over state politics, delayed endorsement. That's on the one hand of the conversation. While we keep tabs on many other stories, ministers are developing cold feet over state politics and delayed endorsement. Page 6 is where to catch more read on the Guardian newspaper this morning. Still tracking Guardian, of course, many stories as well, pictures that might be useful for you this morning. Federal government award 50 million naira each to 45 students innovators. As you can see on your screen, like I said, the picture of Yusuf Tugar, the president, and some other persons as well, while we expect many people to resign in the course of today. We'll keep fingers crossed, we keep our tabs on to see what becomes of that. Moving on from that story as well, APC, ADC border, bicker over national issues, government response. APC and ADC bicker over national issues and government response on the Guardian newspaper this morning. Zulum dissolves cabinet in Borno. That is a big one to check out this morning. Zulum, that's the governor, says is dissolving his cabinet in Borno State ahead of 2027. That's exactly the conversation on that quarter. Still talking politics or taking political stories. And that is the PDP crisis now. More leaders dump party as Makinde's camp heads to Supreme Court. More leaders dump party as Makinde's camp heads to Supreme Court. On the one hand, there's a conversation about Nyesom Wike and then the convention that was attended by INEC. Of course, that seems to be like the right one. They have said, in fact, Minister Wike said, yes, this is the real convention. That whatever happened in the past was just a charade. But, some people are still taking it to court, especially the Makinde-led, faction of the People's Democratic Party. But we'll keep fingers crossed and see what becomes of that as well. Federal government gets approval of US, UK, others on new ambassadors. So, of course, approvals have been given in the United States, United Kingdom. Of course, we've also heard conversations from some quarters that some countries are not saying yes yet because they would not like to they don't have a policy that would adopt a 2-year, because it's pretty much about 2 or 3 years, not more than 2 years for many of the ambassador designated have been sent to different countries. So some countries said they have policies not to take people who are going to serve for just 2 years. It's too short for them, and that's their policy. There's nothing you can do about it. So that's why we've been having kind of like a grid law, kind of like a ghost law, kind of like a traffic situation in that particular conversation. But we keep fingers crossed because UK and US have agreed that, and as we have on the print this morning. I'll move on from the Guardian newspaper this morning to check the Nation to see what the Nation is saying to the Nation. Well, I mean the Nation newspaper to the Nation Nigeria. Now, the conversation on the Nation newspaper is also bold and rightly inscribed. 2027 is on the big caption now. Minister, commissioners, board chairman, others resign. That is like the biggest of stories you'll find across board today. No disrespect to every other story, but that is of interest because people would like to know, or the people are willing to serve them, people would like to go for maybe political positions, and of course we see ambition flying across the country today. But of course we keep our fingers crossed as well. To Gawuna, officials in the Edo Nasarawa Ondo quit. Zulum dissolves ESCO. That's exactly the conversation right there on the Nation newspaper. Let's take something from INEC. INEC recognizes Mohammed-led PDP National Working Committee. That is like it right there. Talking politics, talking INEC, talking the People's Democratic Party, WK versus the Mohammed-led faction. Of course, that's what we have there. INEC recognizes Mohammed-led PDP National Working Committee, maybe for the convention as well. Atiku, Mark, Obi, others receive Kwakwanso. Yes, well, the defection of Kwakwanso recently has made enough noise. It's gone around the country and around the world. As we know that Kwakwansia movement people have been told to just calm down, that they will take their interest as well, to continue to foster the interest of the Kwakwansia movement, even as they defect to meet Atiku, Mark, and Obi, and maybe some other person. Well, meanwhile, renewed hope ambassadors spread to grassroots. Yes, that's also another kind of conversation. North governors raise regional security trust fund. North governors raise regional security trust fund. Perhaps it's about funding. Maybe not, but of course we hope this is a good turnout for the country, Nigeria. Moving on from that as well, this morning, still tracking other stories. National Assembly set to pass 2026 appropriation bill. Yes, some would say at last, after a long hiatus. But yes, what can we say? That's how we have it on that end as well. The Nation newspaper. For one of time, I'll switch focus away from the Nation now to see what the Punch is punching on the front page. This morning, particularly the bold captions, the big caption says, military gets 2.3 trillion naira special funding amid security crisis. That is a story of interest to you, to me, especially when we've seen the recent cases across the country, especially in the north of Jos, right? Rukuba is where that conversation has been heavy because many persons were killed just the day before. People who came back from church, and some people are still just, trying to prepare for the day, the week. On Monday, there were sporadic shots, and people came into the place, and then they started shooting at people. And many lives were lost. We saw videos, very gory sights, something that should not even be expressed publicly. But of course, we understand the situation. As we know, this is a good way. Military gets 2.3 trillion naira special funding amid security crisis. But the question would be, is this funding the right way? Because we've also funded before now, and we still have this dilapidated structure of security in the country. And it's not. Some would also argue that it's not even about the funding that is as required. Because I remember recently, it was one of the ministers at the chambers that said, you know what, especially the one that is representing Borno, he said, you know what, there seems to be Nigerian soldiers are kind of like receding. They are retreating because at some point, they lacked ammunition. They were not enough for them to still continue firing or to still keep fighting the insurgents. So they had to retreat. And so if that was exactly a conversation, really, some people should be held accountable for that. You should not say there was no ammunition. So what about the money that has been invested into that sector? What about who is heading it? Who is supervising how much money was spent? How much money was spent on what exactly? And those are the things we should put on the front burner, really. Because if we say we are putting more money into security, into the architecture, then how can we know that this money is reflecting? How can we say 2.3 trillion naira is going to reflect in the faces of people in our communities, in our localities, that insurgency would stop? How can we ascertain that? Because if you, I know we just like to glide over it sometimes, but it's not helping the country. Military gets 2.3 trillion naira. That's a lot of money, special funding amid security crisis. Is there any promise from that? Is it that this money is for is to buy ammunition? Is it that this money is to up our games, is to develop area surveillance and to do more? That's exactly what I might not be able to answer. Meanwhile, 100 billion naira monthly disbursement to security agencies, 450 billion naira non-regular allowance for armed forces. So this is the breakdown of that 2.3 trillion naira. Outrage as bandits kill 40 in Jos and Kaduna. That's also on the front burner, talking insecurity in the country, Nigeria. 450 billion naira non-regular allowance for armed forces and 100 billion naira monthly disbursement to security agencies. I hope those money would really reflect, and we will not lose our soldiers as we lose our people again on the front line. Now, still on the Punch newspaper, Kwakanso ADC gears up for 2027 showdown with Tinubu. That is right there on Talking Politics, right? Kwakanso says ADC gears up for 2027 showdown with Tinubu. As you know, Kwakanso, Atiku, Obi, and some other presidents, right, are trying to do a lot of things, trying to pull their weight around, but time, they say, will tell. As we keep fingers crossed, 2027 is just around the corner, elections are just near, and we will keep our fingers crossed and our taps opened. Right, 2 ministers resigned to contest elections. That's 2027. Also in the Punch newspaper, the top corner of the Punch says that this morning, Canada hikes residence citizenship fees for Nigerians and others. Canada hikes residence citizenship fees for Nigerians and others. Anyway, INEC okays Wike PDP bloc, court bars Turaki. That's exactly the conversation with the People's Democratic Party as it keeps unfolding across the newspapers this morning. 5 fuel vessels arrive Lagos amid supply worries. 5 fuel vessels arrive Lagos amid supply worries. Also, the down part of the Punch newspaper, as you can see on your screen this morning. Violence erupts in South Africa over alleged Igbo king coronation. Violence erupts in South Africa over alleged Igbo king coronation. That's in South Africa, talking Nigeria. Meanwhile, leadership editor-in-chief backs NUJ award. That's also one of the stories you might find on the Punch newspaper this morning. I'll take a quick drive from the Punch now to Daily Trust to see what the Daily is trusting us with this morning. Meanwhile, the caption reads, Plateau, death toll rises to 27 as residents recount ordeal. Very sad, very unfortunate, very abysmal right there. Daily Trust has it written, and as you can see the pictures right there, death toll rises to 27 as residents recount ordeal. Very sad situation right there as we have it. Of course, we'll still try to keep tabs on some of these other stories. Michael B. Others receive Kwakanso to ADC. That's also one of the conversations right there as we have it. Yes, of course, let's take on some other stories, still tracking Daily Trust newspaper to see that how 13 wedding guests were killed in Kaduna. That is how, maybe, yes, that's a read on how it came about and how this would pan out come as we put our focus and continue to track it much further. What you should know about, okay, this also reads, and protest hit South Africa streets over installation of Nigerian king. That's exactly the Igbo king that's been debated in South Africa. How can you have a king in South Africa that is not your fatherland or your motherland, whichever way you call it? That's exactly that conversation. Switching focus from Daily Trust now to Daily Independent newspaper. Turaki-led PDP banks on Supreme Court to end party crisis. That is on Daily Independent newspaper this morning. It has that independent caption to say, Turaki-led PDP bangs on Supreme Court to end party crisis. That's on Daily Independent newspaper this morning. Files appeal against move to reopen party secretariat. Accuses Tinubu's government of orchestrating crisis in party. Many things, right? You see, many things right there for the People's Democratic Party. Of course, the Supreme Court would be the judge of all of this to see what becomes of the PDP ahead of 2027 elections. Meanwhile, Nigeria eyes 7% GDP growth and 14 billion naira. No, not $14 billion yearly infrastructure push. That is also right there that you might want to see. Oti Mba, Soludo, Sani Bago, lead race for Independent Infrastructure Champion Award. And of course, a lot of citizens can't become normal. That's coming from Atiku, referring to the Plateau incident, Plateau crisis. Atiku says, slaughter of citizens can't become normal. And that's exactly what we have right there. So in 24 hours, our online registration surged. That's the ADC saying that as well, that the online registration has surged in 24 hours. Of course, the elections are very near. Tells presidency rhetoric doesn't match our reality. That's on page 7 to get more read. Right there, use oil windfall to boost economic resilience. IMPI tax federal government. Minister calls for homegrown satellite solutions to drive critical sectors. And MPA sets 1.489 trillion revenue target for 2026. That's exactly one of the conversations we'll be having subsequently. But for now, we have to take a break. And when we come back, we continue with the big story. Stay with us and don't go nowhere.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominioncast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Good morning and welcome to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. This is the big story. It's a new day, but across parts of Nigeria, the mood remains heavy as concerns over safety, unity, and stability continue to dominate national discourse. Today we turn our focus to Plateau State, a region long known for its diversity, yet repeatedly shaken by cycles of violence. Recent tragic events in Jos have once again brought the issue of communal clashes and security failures to the front burner, sparking protests, outrage, and renewed calls for justice and lasting peace. So this morning, on the big story, we ask, what do these developments mean for Plateau stability? And what must be done to prevent a reoccurrence? Samson Balogo is my name, and thank you for joining us. The situation in Plateau State is not just another security headline. It's a reflection of deeper, long-standing challenges around identity, land ownership, governance, and trust among communities. The reported killing in Jos have reignited painful memories, have raised serious questions about the effectiveness of security architecture, early warning system, and conflict resolution mechanisms in the state. Beyond the immediate tragedy, the protests that followed signal a growing frustration among citizens. They are tired. They demand not just for protection, for accountability, and sustainable solutions. In Plateau on the brink, is Plateau on the brink of another prolonged crisis? Or is this a turning point that could force meaningful change? To help us unpack these issues, we are joined by a security expert, Dr. Kunle Okunla, and Afolabi Afolami, a public affairs analyst, who will provide insight into the underlying causes, the security implications, and the possible pathway to lasting peace in the region. Thank you once again for joining us on today's edition of The Big Story. Of course, this is still Daybreak Live. Gentlemen, Dr. Kunle Okola, good to have you in the studio this morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Afolabi.
Wonderful to be here today. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, my friend. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
With a heavy heart, Nigerians are sending condolence messages to the north central, to be precise, and that is Anwarukuba in Plateau State. People are asking a lot of questions, even though some of them are not alien to us. There are questions we have asked over and over again, what the problem is. And we have also asked, what is the solution? And oftentimes when you profile solutions, the show still goes on. Insecurity continues, and the crisis continues from one region to the other. Kaduna, Plateau, Benue, Kwara, and some other parts of the southwest have also been hit by this crisis of late. But let me ask this honest question this morning, Dr. Kunle Okola. As a Nigerian, you saw what happened in Anwarukuba, and you saw how they have revolted despite the curfew. They came out in their numbers. They do not care anymore. Is this the beginning of the revolution that should have happened a long time ago?
Thank you very much. You know, when peace is met with bullets, frustration turns to fire. The situation of Nigeria is getting very, very critical. Very, very critical. And everyone that loves Nigeria should be very concerned. In October 2025, United States President Donald Trump designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern over continued killings. You know, earlier this month, the president and his flamboyant entourage made an historic state visit to the UK. Many Nigerians have strongly criticized President Bola Tinubu's March 2026 trip, you know, to US because they believe that the trip was insensitive on the part of the president, wasteful and a mere attention-seeking diplomacy, because it coincides with the deadly terrorist bombings in Maiduguri that killed at least 23 people. It shows a lack of empathy on behalf of the president. Many people believe that the president could have rescheduled the London trip because of the terrorist attack in Borno State. That even if the president should, you know, still want to make the visit, why don't you just stop over in Maiduguri and personally sympathize
Assess the situation.
Yes, and sympathize and empathize with the people, you know. And even if you are not going to do that, why don't you make a, you know, live broadcast, you know, to be broadcasted? This will show that the president is concerned. And just last week, the International Terrorist Index rankings of nations came out. And guess what? We discovered that Nigeria is ranking as the 4th, you know, most terrorist-affected country globally in 2025, compared to our 6th position in 2024. Pakistan topped the index, followed by Burkina Faso in 2nd position, Niger Republic, and here we have Nigeria in 4th position. And this shows that things are getting worse for us as per security. And you know that if security is not ascertained in any place, there can't be any development. There can't be infrastructural development. There can be, forget about all the visits to Turkey, to United Kingdom. There is no sane investors that will want to bring, you know, his money into a nation that is full of chaos. Nobody will want to do that. And it's high time we began to tell ourselves the truth nobody will help us build this nation. We're going to build this nation by ourselves. The leaders of Turkey and the people of Turkey built Turkey. That's why it is today. The leader of United Kingdom and the people build United Kingdom. Same with, America. So we cannot think that this foreign nation will help us to build a nation. Nigerian leader and Nigerian people, we have to build Nigeria.
Isn't it the norm to request or seek for help from developed nations, especially when you are in trouble, like Nigeria is in trouble now?
Yeah.
Is it a crime that the president has reached out to countries like Turkey, like the United Kingdom, like Russia, United States for help? He knows Nigeria is in trouble and is reaching out for help. Is that a crime now?
You cannot expect another nation, especially those that have interest in your natural resources, to help you build your nation.
Isn't that
1989?
Isn't that meant to be sacrificed?
1989,
for the peace of
Ibrahim
the people?
Babangida went to UK, and a lot of promises were made. Bilateral military agreement and cooperation, and prosperity was promised. Where is the prosperity promised? The president, since he came to power, has made about 51 visits to France and about 31 visits to UK. What has it yielded? The agreement to reach at Turkey, what has it yielded? What has it yielded? The point is that you have to keep your home first. In Yoruba, they say that in Eleru Lakokogbe, that is, the owner of the load will carry it. You can't stand like this with your load and expect somebody to carry it from the ground and put it on your head. So it's by terrorists and bandits since 2015 to 2025, leading to killings of 11,470 people. That was what
before I go to
said.
Afolabi, the state has always been known for communal clashes. And this is not the first time. It has been in existence for a long time. So can we, Afolabi, can we now start talking about crimes in the country without coloration of ethnicity or religion?
Well, we want to talk about crime in Nigeria, talk about the making of the people in Nigeria. You see, we talk about communal crisis, where we talk about disagreement in land issues, talk about people want to infringe into your lands. We talk about religious crisis. These are the crises that have added up to what we are seeing today. We understand at the time, some people felt that their channels of movement from the north to the south has been blocked because they rear their cows. This is how they walk from the north down to the south. They hardly take buses. They don't put their cows there. They graze down from the north to the south, and it has been blocked. And so wherever their cows even pass through, it becomes their own. They want to claim territory. They want to claim ownership. And these are why people will revoke over it and say, no, you are just a visitor. You are just a passerby. This is not your territory. This place belongs to us, and crisis will emerge from there. Right now, we too are also seeing it, and that is what is we shift away from the place, and they dominate. And in 10, 20 years, they want to claim ownership. And another way is the crime. We cannot talk about crime without talking about all this. And these are the factors that we fail to address, and leaving aside and looking eyes for other things. Right there, my brother was talking about bringing in expertise, bringing in investors from overseas, talking about visits to countries where you felt you can get investment, you can gain support, and no sane man will come to a country where things are not in order. No same person will come and invest where there are crises. Even the man Dangote could not put up the depot in his own country, in his own state. He has to bring it out to the south. We used to have a depot in the north. That is this. To cite such thing is in Lagos, and why other places are left behind. If you travel out of this country, if you travel within this country, living in Ibadan now, to going towards Kwara, Kogi, and you will start seeing like as if you are going to desert, because people have run away from the place. Our government have so much been the president traveled to UK. the Minister for Defense was also in UK with him. I asked myself, you just opened the door for the thieves. You have opened the door for crime.
Now, the Minister of Defense was there on an assignment.
In UK.
Nigeria had an MOU with the United Kingdom on security. And the best person in that position to sign the MOU was the Minister of Defense. So, what would he have done different?
At the same time, we were having bomb explosion in Maiduguri.
Ribadu was there also.
Ribadu was there also. I don't understand the way we handle the country. I asked myself, what will be of Nigeria in the next 20 years? I was not very young when we were talking about, during the military era, and we talk about Vision 2020, Vision 2000, Vision, all this vision.
Now, the Plateau State Governor, Caleb Mutfwang, he was there at Warukuba, and he had a lot of things to say. And shortly after, we'll talk about what he said and how he went there. It's a big one, and we'll be back shortly.
Idan kun yi shiru zan zo duk inda kuke so in zo. Domin kunce so ba domin ni ma na kwana ba barci. Na son ku sani an kwana a Jos ba, amma na shigo domin abin da ya faru. Na san kuna bakin ni ma ina kuka. Amma ina son ku yi hankuri mu saurare juna. Mu yi hankuri mu saurare juna.
All right, that was the governor of Plateau State, Excellency Caleb Mutfwang. He was at the scene, but he was there from a governor. That for me, it says a lot about what is going on in
That itself is an
Plateau
insecurity.
State. It shows the weakness and the level with which security in that state has deteriorated over time.
Yeah.
Plateau State is a state known to be volatile.
Yeah.
It has been there for a long time.
Yeah.
There are early warning signs of conflict. Now we have this on our hand. Plateau State had gone to rest for some time. We're hearing Benue, maybe Niger, in some cases Borno, and then we have something like that in Kwara too. But then all of a sudden, is it political that they have awakened the sleeping crisis in Plateau State?
Most of the crises that we have in this nation, we cannot eliminate political undertone to it. We are moving towards election. You know, so many things will be happening. You know, I ask myself if it's just about road and they see.
How grazing is done in those
I personally, you know, was in UK sometimes, and I went to see how grazing, you know, is being done by the government. Why can't we replicate that in Nigeria? If sincerely, as a lot of people are saying that, you know, there are people even in the government, high-profile politicians, the militaries that are having, you know, hands in what is happening, you know. So it's more than people that are benefiting from this.
Feeding fat of the insecurity in the country.
Yes, there are people that are benefiting immensely.
Yes.
Benefiting. You know, one of the locals was explaining what happened. He said this guy was around 7:30 in the evening. People gathered to, it was a place where people gathered to celebrate. Don't forget, it was on a Palm Sunday. Yes. And, you know, these terrorists or bandits or non-gunmen, whatever their name is, came on motorbikes. And as they came on motorbikes, they started shooting sporadically and shooting people outside. And before you know it, you know, a lot of bodies on the ground. But he said something that kind of a thing used to happen, that the NDLE used to come around to trouble them like that. So a lot of people came outside thinking that it was NDLE that was just shooting in the air. And as they were coming out, they were being met with bullets and being killed. And it went on for like, 45 minutes. And they went away. It wasn't until they left.
So what brings the police so late to the crime scene?
That is the custom. That is the operational method. If you look at all the incident that has happened in Kwara State,
they'll come late.
They will come late. It's obvious. This is not a rocket science. This is not rocket science. This is not physics.
At all.
All right? Something is
hidden somewhere.
Yes. Give them room to operate. They finish operation, you can go. There's communication going on. You understand? We shouldn't be where we are as a nation. Nigeria. This is Nigeria that United Nations depended upon. Years back, whenever there was crisis in any part of South and East Africa, that Nigerian army and police would go,
peacekeeping mission.
Peacekeeping mission. And
they were in Monrovia, Liberia,
and they did very well.
Recently, they were in Benin Republic.
Yes.
We brought down Shastelo.
Very well.
We were in Cordova.
You understand? Yesterday, I was immediately, the terrorist nations ranking came up, and Burkina Faso was number 2.
Imagine.
Immediately, within a week, the leader of information gathering centers, all right, in Ouagadougou and many parts of Burkina Faso, to the extent that all the bushes, all the forest, they are being viewed at those centers. That even when a pin dropped, you will get it. That they don't need to send soldiers.
Why is Nigeria's case exceptional?
Because people are making gain in what is happening.
Just like the power sector.
That is
the
it.
Benefits.
Every sector, people. It's not a difficult thing to make things work in Nigeria.
Place, move without being placed, move without being killed, without being challenged, without being terrorized. That is where economic development can be sustained, can show off.
Because it seems we have turned human lives to statistics, just numbers. And if you have no freedom to breathe, what freedom do you have in the nation?
The president talked about let the kind of breath that we deserve. Where is the leadership that we vote for? Where is the promises? And that is where we are still getting it wrong. When they come out for campaign, they only make it a jamboree. They sing, they put up music. Can you see the way the women are crying? Can you see the way children are crying? People are in this kind of situation. No economy can prevail. Nobody can talk about selling one thing or the other. Everything is grounded. Imagine the governor too in the ammo tank. It tells you how bad the security situation. The ammo tank. It tells you how bad the security situation is in that state. Not only in that state, we know what happened in Kwara State. We know what happened in Borno State. You see, let me tell you, the way at which is going on, all the sectors in Nigeria has been so designed to make gain. Have been so designed
at the expense of the people.
At the expense of the people. The power supply, everybody is seeing it. Even the minister have gone on air openly to say he's sorry. That he is apologizing that openly to say he's sorry. That he is apologizing that in the next 13, 14 days, everything will be back. And we are still counting. Nothing has shown for it. When we talk about Nigerian police, my brother,
he promised 2 weeks.
We are on the 8th days now.
8 days.
Yes.
You are counting.
We are counting.
We'll get there.
Until that day, I'm not
2 weeks will be here in no time.
very soon.
And we hold the minister responsible
and
for what he said.
before you grab power, take care of the power ministry. Before you talk about grabbing of power, go and take care of the ministry of power first.
Yeah.
Let's see how far you can do that. Let's see what you can bring out from it. You see, when you talk about leadership is not just you alone amassing wealth to your side. It is you expect to gain is done. Not everything is normal. No, even as a father, we face challenges that we never planned for. In the morning, you can wake up and your neighbor will be knocking on your door that somebody is dying, and you are driving to your office. You will have to change your direction, pick up that person to the hospital before driving back to your office. That is the challenges, many challenges that will. So when you get to the office of the governor, you want to. I don't know. I only pray. I think we have prayed enough.
The mistake we have made in Nigeria is to mix religion with common sense.
I don't get it.
But then, let me ask you, Dr. Kunle Okola, do you think dialogue can solve any of these problems in Plateau State? Or has it gone beyond level of one-on-one conversations as regards peace?
Yeah, dialogue, it's a very good way of resolving issues, but the leaders have waited for too long. Kíákíá là ń pẹ́ kan roko. Tó bá dàgbà tá a pa ẹnìkan ò ní ká. We have allowed this tree to grow so big and has spreaded so many tentacles.
The roots are far
Is
gone.
it a woman that has become a widow
Just as
overnight without any premonition of anything bad happening that you want to sit down and talk to? How do you want to compensate, children that become fatherless, mother deal with that trauma, that
the pain.
The pain. Some of them will carry the trauma throughout
For life.
And at some times, when you are pushed to the wall, you want to revenge. That's why we have all these attacks over and over again. Because even if it is just ordinary cutlass you have, you want to do something. Sure. There's a lot of confusion going on in that state now. All right. A dialogue could have helped at the early stage. But now it has come to a point that the government have to come in and take a stance. Let's root out the people. And the dimension, when I look at it, it used to be the suburb of Plateau State.
But now it's
in Jos. It's in Jos, very close to the University of Jos. That the University of Jos have to, postpone the examination that is supposed to start on Monday. And ask the students to go home. You remember the other time that it happened in that place, that the governor of Oyo State had to, move to Jos, Plateau State, with the commissioner of youth and whatever, with some police and armed forces to take Oyo State indigenous back to your you understand? Yes. It's another dimension now, and the defiance of authority is another thing that is alarming. The governor, who is the authority of the state, came and said,
who was meant to be a signal of strength to the people.
To the people.
Was not a signal of weakness.
Said 48 hours curfew. People in defiance came out.
I'm telling you.
And the police were just looking at them. The army was just looking at them. Kill as many people as you can. And when it failure of the government.
Administration. Now, just before we go, we've still got a few minutes on this show this morning. There's a certain man who was on site. His name is Alex Babir. He was there. He recorded a video and made some important points. What does that mean for a nation like Nigeria? It's a very big question. Let's watch that material. And when we return, there's a lot to talk about.
People to be killed again and again and again and again. When will it stop? When will you hear the cries of Nigerians, of Christians? You can no longer deny genocide. They're being slaughtered. and you say there's no issue, you will regret what you are doing. In Kabul, they just murdered over 10 people. Innocent Christians. On Palm Sunday. Tinubu, where are you? As your people are slaughtered in the night, as you sit in Aso Rock and you do absolutely nothing, you allow your people to be killed again and again and again and again. When will it stop? When will you hear the cries of Nigerians, of Christians? You can no longer deny genocide. They're being slaughtered. And you say there's no issue. You will regret what you are doing.
All right, welcome back. That was Alex Babir. He had a lot of things to say. But people would ask questions about how he gets the information about where the attack would happen. It was on site almost immediately after the attack was done. Yes. And he recorded that video. And the takeaway from all of this is, how did he get the information that it was going to happen, that brought him there almost immediately after the attack? 2, what exactly is his role in Nigeria as an informant? Or maybe he's here on a humanitarian basis. And 3, should he be brought in for questioning? Yeah. And a threat to the president of a nation is a threat to the nation. So who is Alex Babir, Dr. Kunle Okola? Shortly.
It's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate. There is no Nigerian that can do this in America. There's no Nigerian. Immediately he will be arrested. Be arrested and prosecuted, because number one, you are not Nigerian. Number 2, you don't have the...
Who made you the spokesperson of the people?
The spokesperson on behalf of the people. But when you leave your house unguarded, even ants and
rats,
reptiles, they flow inside. Yes. And immediately after the broadcast, the United States Congressman Riley Moore has warned that continued attacks on Christians in Nigeria will strain diplomatic relations with the U.S. following reports of a deadly Palm Sunday assault. All right. He was on ground even before our Nigerian police was there. According to him, he saw what happened. He saw dead bodies. And maybe that was the first time in his life that he will be seeing somebody, an innocent person, being shot like that. So he was crying out of concern. He's not the one that should be doing this, laying out a threat to the president of Nigeria that Tinubu, you are going to regret it. What audacity has he? But who do we blame?
Yeah.
Who do we blame? When you have a father who does not really care about his children, other concerned father will help you to father your children. But this is another dimension. When I saw it, I just bowed my head, in shame. Who is this person?
That is the truth.
Who is this person?
Nobody in America threatening the president of Nigeria.
Yes. I lived in the UK, I worked in the UK. If you are not assigned to talk on behalf of UK, it doesn't matter your position, you cannot.
Yes.
Look at this person. This is a young person laying a threat to the president of Nigeria, the giant of...
former giant of Africa.
Well, let me now ask you this.
Former giants.
If you were advising the government today, what are the top 3 urgent actions that you would recommend?
Mr. President, reorganize your army. There are informants in that.
That's right.
How do you fish them out?
Mr. President, reorganize your army without political intervention or political interference. Mr. President, reorganize your Nigerian police because there are moles there. It's obvious. It's obvious that Nigerian army will be directed to go this way, and the terrorists are going the other way. And by the time they are coming back, the evil days will have been done. Mr. President, put hope, trust that Nigeria is a place to live in the heart of the people. And that is why Jackpot will continue for any reason. People don't mind. Go to the mall, go to mall and work outside the country. People are coming out of the country to go and work in the farm. We all have their own farm. Is land fallow here. Mr. President, make a country, your citizen, the heart of what you are sitting on. Imagine the man that came out from overseas. He was there on site. He has been around before now. We talk about killing of Christians, and we said it's a no, that is not working. That is just a communal crisis. It's just a terrorist attack. It's not killing. And it is obvious on a Palm Sunday. And the man was there before Nigerian army got there. Before Nigerian police got there. And this is just obvious. Yes, this man may not have been doing it right, but like my partner Rice said here, if a father fails to take care of his own, somebody else will father these children. That God does not allow vacuum to happen anywhere. All the loopholes must be blocked. So, Mr. President, for all that is happening, it's because of you.
Okay.
Policies, good policies. Good policies.
Dr. Kunle Okola, is Plateau State sitting firmly on a keg of gunpowder or a ticking time bomb? And then is there a lasting path to realistic peace in that part of the country? Very quickly before we go.
Yes, definitely. Plateau State presently is seated on a time bomb that is ready to explode
Anytime soon.
anytime. If care is not taken, that it's going to be a reprisal attack, and it's going to continue like that, because what we're experiencing presently in Plateau State is a failed government.
Yes.
If the governor of the state cannot work freely, that he has to be hiding inside the hammer of time. And what is the plight of an ordinary man on the street? It's a time bomb. Sure. It can explode. Anytime. And what we are going to see is that people will begin to relocate, just like in Kwara State. Yes. They begin to leave the place. All right. And when you leave your home, you leave your business, it's economic failure. It pains me when people come around, government officials come around talking of economic gain. I ask myself, this thing has not translated. This morning I bought fuel, 1,400 and something. I was like, you put 10,000 naira fuel inside your car, it's not even up to
7 liters.
7 liters. Wow. It's absurd. If I'm going to advise not just the governor but the president, because everything is hanging on the shoulder of the president. How I'm going to say, Mr. President, you are a Democrat. Everybody knows that you know what to do. Yes. I am going to advise, because whatever is being done today, it's become a history tomorrow. Yes. Stop putting politics ahead of people's lives. Okay. Stop putting politics ahead of human lives. And step on toes. You know these people. Sure. Step on toes. Let it be on record that we had a president
who fought insecurity. Thank you, Dr. Kunle Okola. Now, we say thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you very much.
As we have discussed this morning, the situation in Plateau State goes beyond isolated incidents. Yes. It speaks to the urgent need for proactive security measures, inclusive governance, and genuine reconciliation among communities. The path to stability may be complex, no doubt, but it is one that must be pursued with sincerity, courage, and collective responsibility. We thank Dr. Kunle Okola and Afolabi Afolami for joining us on the show this morning and for sharing their expert perspectives on this critical issue. This has been the big story. Of course, keep the conversation going and stay engaged because the future of our communities depend on it. Samson Balogun is my name.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Thank you for staying with us. We now switch focus to the trending stories across the country. Meanwhile, what we have on the front burner today, talking trends, is Ondo Governor Ayedatiwa sacks all special assistants to appoint 1,000 new aides. That's exactly the conversation on that table of discourse this morning. I was trying to check, according to the provision of the Constitution, Section 196 of Section 1, as amended in 1999 Constitution, does not legally or in any way fix a mandated number of aides as a Nigerian state governors that a governor must have. Instead, it says that it empowers governors to appoint any number of special advisors, special assistants, personal assistants they deem necessary to assist in their functions. And I was trying to check, so why could this be? It could be that, yes, some have said it's because of political inclusion. They want to have grassroots participation, grassroots inclusion in their governance. Of course, that's a lovely thing to say. But others will also maybe differ to say that, why don't you cut down on the cost of governance? If you have 1,000 aides, that's a lot of number. But meanwhile, some of them also are going to be sacked, are going to be contesting for political positions in the next few days. So it's not as if he sacked every one of them. Some of them had to go because of the situation of things. Come 2027, the elections, it's around the corner. So that's exactly the conversation. But 1,000 new aides, so what do you do about this?
That's exactly what you get when you misplace priorities. Understandably, some of them, members of his cabinet, would have to leave to contest elective positions in the forthcoming general election. And even Ayedatiwa has been stopped by the court to recontest because he finished the tenure of his principal, Aketi, before he passed. And then he had to, contest again and won, meaning that he has done 2 terms in office as a governor. But then some of them will have to leave. But how do you cope with over-bloated government structure? 1,000 heads. For what exactly? What are they going to bring to the table that maybe 200 or 250 will not do? And that, for me, is even too much. We glorify some of these, appointments too much that we forget to understand that some of them don't even get to see the governor in 4 years they serve with him in the office. They don't get to say a thing. They don't get to advise him. And they call them special advisors. Some are, how do you explain someone is special advisor and some are senior special advisors, SSA? For what exactly? What are they advising you on? It means you have no blueprint whatsoever when coming to office. You see, let's just call a spade a spade. Now you have more ghost workers on the payroll with what he's doing, because 1,000 of them, how many of them will he be able to see in a week, in a month, or in a year? And he has just a few more months, or maybe in the next few months or years, he will be out of office. So he will overbloat governance. Then inflated contract and procurement fraud will happen, because all of them will want to be a part of, everybody wants to chop now. So if you are bringing a contract on health, everybody surrounded as a special advisor will have to be on the neck of the contractor and say, Oga, if you don't collect money, you have to give me mine. So that contractor will inflate the budget, knowing fully well that a certain percentage of the money is going to SSAs, SAs, and some other people who are involved. That, for me, is waste in governance. It's waste. And why do you need 1,000 people? How many of them will you be? Ask the governor of Ondo State. How many of these people will he be able to attend to in one day, in 1 week, and maybe in a year, before his tenure is finally over. And when he wants to have executive council meeting, is he going to rent a banquet hall just to address all of his aides? This is a no-brainer. It's a total waste, and it should be stopped before he continues with this kind of spree of appointment jamboree here and there.
We'll take a few comments very quickly. Juggernaut Architect says, aides to thieves and politicians has now become a full-time job. Those people turn the common people to beggar. Wow.
Well,
Papi Sean says, it should have made it 5,000. They will tell you it's job creation. And that's how much you take.
that's what we can think in the comment section. But for me, it's a no-brainer. Nobody should take 1,008. For what exactly? Why do you need 1,000 people? But then, if the people of Ondo State still, they want 1,008, yes, it's an employment opportunity for them.
Empowerment.
It might be called empowerment. But if you want your monies to be, taken away by politicians, spent on appointments for the sake of compensating political allies, it's your responsibility to revolt against that. And it's a fine place to leave the show this morning. We say thank you for joining us on that show. It has been a wonderful session right here in the studio. Dominion of course, Dominion Television in Padon. All right, do well to link up with us on all socials. Do not forget to join us again tomorrow, same station, same host, and definitely this same program, Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Samson Balogun is my name. As I always say, keep being good out there, keep being safe. Bye for now.
And my name is Anolo Akwedo. Thank you for joining us. Again tomorrow, we'll come here. Stay with us and don't go nowhere. Bye for now.